North Korean hackers are evolving their tactics again, and this time they're coming for your development environment with malicious Visual Studio Code projects.
I'm Morgan, and that's Alex. It's a heavy day for developer security and some critical authentication bypasses. Let's break it down.
We have to start with a massive flaw in a tool a lot of home labbers and self-hosters use. It's CVE 2026-23837, and it hits MyTube, that self-hosted video downloader and player. It's a CVSS 9.8, which is about as bad as it gets.
9.8? That's basically an open door. Is this one of those forgot to check the password situations?
Almost exactly that. The vulnerability is in the role-based auth middleware. Essentially, if an unauthenticated user sends a request but just doesn't provide an authentication cookie at all, the system doesn't know what to do with it. Instead of rejecting the request, it just passes it through to the downstream handlers as if everything is fine.
Wait, so by providing less information, you get more access? That's a classic logic failure. It reminds me of those old bypasses, where if the user object was undefined, the code just assumed it was an admin or didn't need checking.
Exactly. If you're running MyTube version 1.7.65 or earlier with login enabled, you're wide open. An attacker can basically take over the instance because the middleware fails to stop them if that cookie is missing. It's a reminder that even when we move away from big tech platforms to self-hosted ones, we're taking on the security debt of those smaller projects.
It's the trade-off, right? Privacy for security responsibility. Speaking of open doors, what's the story with Brown Communications? I saw a high-priority alert for their AP controllers.
That's CVE 2026-1221. It affects the PrismX MX100 AP controller. This is another 9.8, but for a much more old-school reason: hard-coded credentials.
Hard-coded? In 2026? Alex, we've been talking about why this is a bad idea for 20 years. Is it for the management interface or the database?
It's the database. The firmware actually stores hard-coded credentials for the database. And because it's an AP controller, an unauthenticated remote attacker can use those to log straight in. Once they're in the DB, they can potentially see everything the controller sees.
That's a nightmare for enterprise environments. If you're using PrismX, you're likely managing a whole fleet of access points. If the controller is compromised via the database, the whole wireless network is essentially untrusted at that point.
Right. It's a patch now or unplug it situation. And while we're on the subject of critical bypasses, we need to look at WordPress, specifically the Advanced Custom Fields Extended plugin.
ACF is everywhere. I think half the custom WordPress sites on the internet use it. What's the flaw in the extended version?
This is CVE 2025-14533. It's a privilege escalation bug in the insert user function. Basically, the plugin doesn't properly restrict which roles a user can pick when they register. So, an unauthenticated attacker can just tell the site they're an administrator during registration.
Hold on. So I just go to the registration page, and if that custom field is mapped, I can just type in administrator and I own the site? That's almost too easy.
It's only exploitable if the role is mapped to a custom field. But for sites that use ACF Extended to build custom user portals, that's a very common configuration. It affects everything up to and including version 0.9.2.1. If you're running that, you're one post request away from losing your site.
WordPress plugins are the gift that keeps on giving for attackers. But Alex, let's pivot to that headline you opened with. This North Korean campaign targeting developers. It feels like we're seeing a real shift in who the high-value target is.
It's a campaign Jamp Threat Labs is calling Contagious Interview. We've seen them do this before, but they've refined the lore. They're using malicious Microsoft Visual Studio Code projects. They basically trick a developer into downloading a project for a coding test or a collaboration, and as soon as you open it in VS Code, it executes a backdoor.
That's clever, because developers are naturally curious and collaborative. And if you get into a developer's machine, you don't just get their data. You potentially get access to the source code, the CI/CD pipeline, and the production environment. It's the ultimate supply chain entry point.
Exactly. And they aren't the only ones. There's a new info stealer called Evelyn Stealer that's doing something similar. It's abusing the VS Code extension ecosystem to steal developer credentials and even crypto data.
Wait, Evelyn Stealer? Is that the one weaponizing the actual extension marketplace? I remember seeing a report about malicious extensions being uploaded that look like popular themes or tools.
That's the one. It's designed to exfiltrate sensitive info directly from the environment. Between the North Korean contagious interview stuff and Evelyn Stealer, VS Code is becoming a very dangerous place if you aren't careful about what you're installing or opening.
It's interesting. We're seeing this focus on developers at the same time we're seeing AI-generated threats. Did you see the report on VoidLink? Leaping Computer was saying it shows clear signs of being AI-generated.
Yeah, VoidLink is a cloud-focused malware framework. Researchers think it was developed by a single person, but the code structure and some of the logic suggest they had a lot of help from an AI model. It's not perfect malware, but it's sophisticated enough to be a real problem for cloud environments.
So AI is building the malware, but AI is also being attacked. I was reading about Google's Gemini being tricked into leaking calendar data. It wasn't even a complex hack, just natural language instructions.
Prompt injection. Researchers basically bypassed Gemini's defenses and got it to create misleading events and leak private data. It's the same story with the Anthropic MCP Git server flaws that came out today.
Anthropic's Model Context Protocol? I thought that was supposed to be the secure way for AI to interact with local data like Git repositories.
That's the goal. But they found 3 flaws in the official MCP server Git that allow for arbitrary file access and even code execution. If an attacker can influence what the AI reads, like a malicious README file in a repo, they can trigger prompt injection that tells the AI to execute commands on the host machine.
So, to tie it all together, hackers are targeting developers' VS Code environments, using AI to write the malware, and then using prompt injection to attack the AI tools those same developers are using. It's a complete circle of risk for anyone writing code right now.
It really is. If you're a developer, you need to be treating your IDE and your AI assistants with the same level of suspicion you'd give a random attachment in a phishing email.
On a lighter note, before we wrap up, I did see that Microsoft PowerToys 0.97 is out. They added something called Cursor Wrap for multi-monitor setups. It basically lets your mouse teleport from one edge to the other.
A little quality of life improvement while we're all hunkered down patching. But seriously, the priority today is clear. If you're using that ACF extended plugin for WordPress, update it immediately to fix CVE 2025-14533. And if you're a developer, audit your VS Code extensions and be extremely careful with coding test projects.
Your daily AI-powered security briefing. If this saved you time, subscribe. We're here every morning.
Stay patched. Stay paranoid.